The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, right here at show number 597. Thank you for joining us. Another real estate radio adventure as we have, as always, tremendous people, but really great information. It's going to be fun, this show. So we're glad that you're with us here today on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik. I want to remind you, if you want to see the show on the YouTube videos, simply go to stewart.com/radio. That's right. You can go to stewart.com/radio or the YouTube channel Radio Bill. Real easy to find, Radio Bill. That's where you could see this show, you could see the guests, or you can access hundreds of previous shows. So if you hear something today, you weren't able to write it down, just go to Radio Bill or stewart.com/radio. Let's get down to business as we welcome Teresa Hill. She is the 2026 HAR Chair and with Compass Real Estate. Teresa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill, for having me here today.
Well, here you are. It's exciting to see you, and we're always interested in HAR, as people here in Houston are, but even, as you know, people far and wide want to know what's going on with HAR. So first, let's tell people HAR, what does it stand for? What is it? And let's tell them about your role there now.
Yeah, so HAR, we are the second largest local real estate association in the country. And our mission is to help our over 48,000 members just achieve ongoing success. And we try to connect home sellers, buyers, and renters. So, we strive to make the home buying and the renting process inclusive and, with as much professionalism from our HAR members as possible. We also have HAR.com, which is one of the most successful consumer-facing real estate sites. We have a pretty good percentage of people that log on to our site. We have an average of 8 million visitors per month at HAR.com.
Well, and as you mentioned, 8 million. Let's just back up another second to the number that you said, 48,000. Yeah. Let's embellish that as, tell them again, there's 48,000 members of HAR, Houston Association of Realtors?
Yes, sir. Yes. We have a little over 48,000.
So this isn't Little Rock, Arkansas. I mean, we're the fourth. Some people say, Teresa, we're the third, soon to be the third largest city. So we have a lot of real estate professionals here, to say the least.
We do. And we're a very diverse city as well, which is part of the reason, that I'm so drawn to it. I love the diversity of our city. And congratulations on your role as the HAR chair. Give people an idea to be part of this large organization, and you're a realtor at the same time. Give us an idea of your role, what you're doing as the chair for 2026 at HAR. So I guess kind of my responsibilities, if you will, is really just the general supervision of the association. And I do work hand in hand with the president of HAR, who is Rene Galvan. And I believe you interviewed him earlier this year.
We did, yes.
He's our new CEO after Bob Hale, who everybody knows and loves. Bob retired in January of this past year. So as of February 1st, Rene Galvan is our new CEO. And again, we work very, very closely together as I serve in this role. And so I preside over all member meetings that we have, whether that be board meetings or, special meetings that may come into play. And then I just act as the voice and face of HAR for 2026.
So to be in this role, give people an idea. Was there a process? Because the role, if I understand it, runs for the whole year of 2026.
That's
But
correct.
what was the process to even get to be in this
It's
position?
definitely a process. It could be up to a 6-year commitment.
Wow.
Yes. So you start out by being on the board of directors. So as chair, I am the chair of both the board of directors and the executive committee. Board of directors. In that election, you have to be a member of the board of directors in order to run for executive committee, which is the committee that I am on. It's 5 years on the executive committee. You start out as secretary treasurer, then you are a vice chair 2, a vice chair 1, a chair elect, and then you're chair, like I am. So I am in year 5. And then year 6, I will be the immediate past chair. Now, I will say it's not a guaranteed line of succession until you get to chair elect. Now, that is the normal process. We usually don't have people that fall off during this succession. But again, it is a huge time commitment. There's lots of traveling, meetings, interviews such as this. And of course, as you get higher up in the chain, the more of a time commitment it is.
Well, one of the things we learned just a few weeks ago, or we were reminded, is that HAR, Houston Association of Realtors, people think mostly residential, but we learn also that your involvement in the commercial realm of real estate here in this big Houston area.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do have Comgate, which is headed up by Sam Scott at har.com. But that is a large segment of the association as well. So
lots of things going on. Do you have a feel for, we've heard and talked about it here on this show with many people through the last it might be 4 years now, but of all the people that are coming, about all the people that are coming from other places to come to Houston? What's the feel that when you're at HAR, you're saying, well, the last group came in, no more? I mean, what's really happening? There's still a stream of people coming from other states. Is that right?
There really is. We are known as a very business-friendly state, and I think that's what draws people here the most. Now, as far as our the real estate market or the real estate landscape, as we go into 2026, I think that we're seeing a little bit of a momentum because we're seeing a more balanced market right now. It was a seller's market for so many years, and we're backing off of that. So I think that that's just important, to note.
Well, also, you have a role. Let's tell people your role at Compass. And as you describe it, also give us an idea, the responsibility of what you're doing as the chair for HAR. It's a big job. And like you already said, it's a lot of time commitment. So how does that work where you have another full-time job at Compass? Tell us what you're doing there and how do you balance that?
So I am in management. So I am a sales manager at Compass, and I'm at our kind of what's considered our flagship office. I'm at the Westheimer office. Because that is the largest office, I do have a co-manager there. So her name is Nadia Gibran. We have worked together before at another brokerage, so we know how to work well together. We're very cohesive. And she is a godsend right now because she's definitely helping me out when I'm away. And then I also have my managing director, who's kind of my supervisor. She's over all 5 of our offices at Compass. Her name is Sita Youngblood, and again, she is just such an important part of my support system. So Compass has been very, very gracious in giving me the support that I need.
Indeed, Sita and Nadia are incredible individuals. Both have been on the show. It's been a while. Love to see them again. Hope they're listening. But yes, you have a very powerful and important team right there with those individuals.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So as you say, the market is, quote, normal. It's better than it was. What do you see between Compass and HAR? What do you see for the rest of the year as we're so well into it now?
Well, I think, as I said, I think we're getting more into a balanced market. Buyers have more options now. Our days on the market are increasing. So buyers aren't having to make those, rash decisions where things are going to fly off the market, within the first hours of being listed. Now, that's not to say that we still don't have multiple offers, because we do. We are a very hyper-local real estate city, because what's happening in Galveston is different than what's happening in the Woodlands. We're very spread out. So we are super hyper-local. But I do believe that that for the most part, our sales price has remained pretty steady. And sales, although they dipped a little bit in February, our sales have remained steady too. So we're still seeing the seller still has the offers coming in, but the buyers, like I said, they do have more options and more time to make decisions, which hence the more balanced market.
As I'm here listening to you, I'm thinking of your various roles and the people you mentioned. But also the thing, Teresa, that stands out is being involved in sales management, because so many things in any industry profession revolves around sales. Mm-hmm. But you get to see incredible performers. Mm-hmm. You understand what makes them great in many cases, and you also help make others great and to enhance their success. When you see or someone comes to you and they say, Teresa, I'm thinking about being a realtor, right? What are the at least two qualities that you think are so important that may be overlooked as to what makes someone successful in real estate as a realtor to sell and help buyers and sellers?
Well, this is definitely a relationship type business. You've got to know how to read people and communicate. I think communication is key. Probably the complaint I get the most is, why didn't the realtor call me back? Why did it take her an hour to call me back? I mean, we are in an instant gratification type world nowadays. And, when you get that HAR lead, I've heard 15 minutes is an eternity to get back to that person. So, again, I think communication is absolutely key.
It's one word, communication. Yeah. You're so right.
I want people to know that real estate can be a complicated, transaction, but it doesn't have to be a bad experience. But the number one thing is you have to get a realtor. I think that's so important. For consumers to know this is something that you don't want to do on your own. Too much that you may not know as a consumer, that your realtor is a trusted advisor, can give you good, solid information, and can have it be the ultimate experience for something that's going to be probably your most greatest asset.
Give us a quick word and backing up a little bit. You've been in the profession several decades, maybe over 3, I'm guessing. What was it about real estate that attracted you to begin with?
I'm definitely a people person, so that's my attraction. And as far as getting in management, my passion is to help real estate agents thrive in their business. That's kind of my jam. That's what gets me going.
We're talking with Teresa Hill. She is the 2026 HAR Chair and also in Sales Management at Compass. Teresa, if people want to learn more about HAR or Compass, what should they do?
You can contact me at 832-766-2420. You could also email me at teresa.hill@compass.com. And I appreciate all comments and questions, and feel free to reach out to me. I'm an open book. 832-766-2420.
Teresa, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
As we continue, we have Amber and Scotty Gifford. They are with the Gifford Group. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Appreciate it so much.
And here you are, a husband and wife real estate team right here in the big city.
Yeah, it's really, from the very beginning, we wanted to be like, we said, hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this as a team, and we're going to come together and help people and walk through different life situations. And so really, it's really been a dream of ours from the very beginning, and it's just so great we get to do it every day.
It's exciting, isn't it?
And I like him.
And
Still.
you even, after however many years, right?
That's right.
6 years, yeah.
And that's so great to start like this, because what we're going to get to, the niche that you have in the real estate market. Now, you're helping all the buyers and sellers out there, of course. But first, let's talk a little bit about the Gifford Group and the geography that you're covering. Now, you cover all over, but let's just say the last 20 transactions geographically, what kind of area have you been canvassing
I would
here
say
in Houston?
mostly the west side of Houston to the north side of Houston. We haven't. We just had a buyer helping out in Crosby, Texas, so the east side. But like most of our transactions would be, west side of Houston, southwest to the western side of Houston. So Houston's a huge market, as you say. We got HAR with 40,000 people here, so just members. So like it is a big area to cover. So we try to can't cover it all, but we try to do as best we can.
And you mentioned Crosby, Texas. That we don't hear a lot about it, but for those that are outside of Houston, that's in the northeast, and it's at once. I don't know. I hadn't been there lately, but was a small town last time I was there. So that
Still is.
Still
a small town.
Especially compared to Katy and Fulshire blowing up over here, right?
Let's start with Katy just for a minute. I would assume you're doing work in Katy as well. What's going on in Katy, Amber?
Oh, man. Katy's been booming. We have Fulshire right next door. That's one of the fastest growing cities. They have, I think the market's definitely shifted to more of a buyer's market for sure. We still have lots of listings, and I think if you're going to do buy sell, you're going to get beat up on the sell, and then you can beat up on the buy if you want to get a deal that way. So Katy's still booming. It's one of the best cities to live in according to statistics, the schools. It's family oriented. It's a great place with parks and shopping, and you don't have to be in the traffic that you do in Houston. So a lot of people want to come to Katy.
Well, I'm going to chime in on the merits of Katy in terms of location. Its location has improved in a big way in the last 8 years due to the various improvements in the highway system.
Yeah, and I think just we kind of live on the west side, right? And so it's like, as people want to commute in, still it's okay. But now you have a lot of stuff that's development's growing out there. We have, we just had an HEB just moving a mile away from us. So really, I mean, as people moved, the shopping has moved around us. So it's just making it more convenient. You don't have to go back into town. There are a lot of great restaurants. There's a lot of shopping that you can do there. So you don't really have to leave your little bubble over on the west side if you don't want to, unless you want to go down to those fancy Houston restaurants or you're working, right?
Hey, work from home, you get a house with an office. We can find that for you.
You can help people with that, I'm sure, right? So as far as we've had husband and wife teams in various situations here on the show, but give us an idea, what makes it work for you guys? Because does one person do one thing, or how do you balance the responsibility, the excitement, the prospect, all those things?
First and foremost, we know where our weaknesses and our strengths are.
There you go.
So we work together where he's weak, I'm strong, and vice versa. And we have excellent communication with one another. And we don't mind taking over to help the other person. So if I can't be somewhere because I have a closing, he'll go and he'll talk to the client or whatever they need in show houses. We tag team really well together with each other and then with our clients. I'm stellar at communication. Scotty's pretty good. He's pretty good. So I can pick up the pieces.
I'm better than average, but she's just in a whole nother league, I would say.
That's the quote of the day. Scotty's pretty good. Right? That's a good one.
He's pretty good. So, we tag team well together. We are... we're happily married and we have a blended family. So we love real estate. We love helping people, especially in, complex transactions, which we tend to get a lot of and we're known for.
Okay, let's talk divorce. And when I say that, people are saying, I wonder why you brought that up. Because let's tell them, Scotty.
Well, so when we first started, we said we wanted to, help people that me and Amber have both been through divorce. We're happily married now, but we walked through that transaction. And there's a lot of questions that go into real estate, when there's a divorce happening, right? And your family law attorney is great. You need them, but you also need another whole group of people to help you out. And one of those things is going to be real estate. What are we doing with the house? Are we keeping the house? Are we selling the house? Are we both selling and then renting again? So there's a lot of that you have to walk through. And there's emotional parts of that as well, too, that they have to deal with. And so we kind of help them. We're able to help them since we've been in their shoes. We're able to help them, walk that through, right? And since there's two of us, which is really great, we're able to, as a man, I can talk to the men and be in their shoes, and Amber can be in the woman's shoes. So it allows them to feel comfortable talking to somebody that's been in their shoes directly, and not just I understand, but I've walked that path as well too.
And sometimes too, they don't want to speak with a woman. Maybe they had a bad experience with their husband. I mean, there's both of us, so together we play the role. Whatever they need, we meet them where they're at.
Well, and it's so important when we say divorce, there are so many things, and I think as we analyze the things in the real estate profession, why someone's going to buy a home, why is it for sale, all those things, the things that trigger a real estate transaction, one of the categories is divorce. And this is the first time in 597 shows where we have had a realtor, or especially a couple, that is set up to help that particular nuance in a fantastic way.
Yeah, it's very important and special to me. I'm a child of divorce 7 times over, and my own divorce makes 8. So I knew immediately when getting into real estate, I'm going to help people who are divorcing. So it is our specialty. We do work with mediators and attorneys and counselors and everyone. We are a tool in their tool belt, and that's what we want to be for them, so they have someone they can go to. I mean, a lot of times it's emotional, like you said, and so we're walking them off that ledge, like, hey, can you afford this house? What does that look like? We're going to show you what it's worth, and then we're going to be neutral party to the transaction, so we can work with both of your attorneys and let them know, like, hey, we're just an outsider coming in, letting you know the value, because a home's only worth what someone's willing to pay. It's not what you think it is because you want to more money in your home and you don't want to pay as much necessarily to the ex-spouse. So,
and I bet you see all kinds of scenarios. There's probably, on the optimistic side, there's probably the divorces that are pleasant as possible, and they're like, okay, we're both moving on and we're both fair. And what fantasy land is this? No, they're both fair.
There are some,
there are
sure.
some, right?
For sure.
But then there's the flip side of there's the troubled situations to where it may not be all happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've seen it all. We've seen the gambit. We, like say, from the very beginning, that's who we've been helping and walk through. And so I think we've talked to probably over 400 couples ourselves, just throughout the years. Obviously, we didn't help every one of them buy or sell, but sometimes we help them on like the lending side. Sometimes we just help them getting connected. So we've met a lot of people along the way in their different paths. And like Amber said, we're always just trying to meet them where they're at, so that we can help them and be that person to help them get to the next phase that they're trying to get to.
And it's probably your sensitivity and special skills that you've developed to where you've written a book as well called 2 Roads, 1 Journey, Navigating Divorce Through God's Grace. Right here, the book you wrote, Scotty and Amber Gifford.
We did. We wanted that as a tool to help people. I mean, we're not advocates of divorce, but if you're going to go through it, we want you to be educated and smart and know what you need to know so you can make those good decisions based on your financial means, because it's a business transaction at the end of the day. And my heart goes out to, I was a single mom, I have 3 kids, I needed a house. How is this going to work? What does this look like? How do I buy again? What do I need to do? So do I keep the house? Do I sell it? There's 100 questions.
And then I have to have a house near a good school with the 3 kids.
That's right. And Katie. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and it's scary. It's very scary. I've been there. I know. And typically your head goes in the sand immediately, and then you come back to us sometimes a year later and go, I need your help again. Help me. And we're here.
If someone wants to buy the book, 2 Roads, 1 Journey, what should they do, Scotty?
It's going to be available on Amazon, but it's also available on our website, thegiffordgroup.net. You can navigate to where it says Navigating Divorce Book. So we wrote that book because as we walk through this, we see that like Amber said, there's all these things to walk through, but there's also that other part that we can't always so this is our heart poured into this book for them, because we can't always be there on every hour of the day that they need us. But sometimes this book can help you just through those long nights when you need someone to be there to tap on the shoulder.
thegiffordgroup.net. Does that sound right? Okay, so let's, for a minute or two, you have this special skill of helping people going through a divorce, but that's just part of your business. You're helping regular people that are, maybe they're married, happily married, maybe they're single, maybe they're relocating, all those things. Give us a word about that, Amber, some of the other people that you're helping, buyers and
Well,
sellers.
they're all regular people, but we all have complicated transactions and things in our
Nobody's
lives.
regular. But anyway.
We like to say we are. But yes, we do regular buy, sells, rentals. A lot of times, let's just say it is a divorce, they need to rent again. But we are helping them on all aspects of their real estate needs as well as lending too. I mean, we can do all gamuts of real estate for them, and we want to be there to help people in that next phase of their life.
Yes.
And you've developed an interesting specialty, so to speak, but also it sounds like you're always thinking of ideas. Is that one of the benefits of a husband and wife, where as you sit and talk, you're with each other, so you could say, hey, honey, we did this. Let's look at this avenue in our business, or maybe we could expand here. Or
we do.
Is that what's happening over there?
We do long walks with our dogs, and he talks about the technical piece of it and all the numbers and builds calculators while I'm talking about the emotional pieces of it, and then we come together.
And it comes together in a tremendous way.
Yeah.
And what do the dogs think?
They love us. We're the best dog parents.
How many dogs?
We have 2.
What's their names? They're probably listening.
Linus and Winter.
Oh.
We have 5 kids too, but
We have 5 kids too, but yeah, they talk back. The dogs don't.
I think we're just here to help people make informed decisions about all the real estate needs. Whether that's like Amber said, if we're helping them just making if they're a first time home buyer and they're trying to make a decision about if they can afford this or not. So on our website, we've built some tools like a buyer cost calculator. Right, I have a selling cost calculator on there. So I've always just looking towards the public to see what do they need and what can be beneficial to them, and then I want to have that tool available for them. So it's there, but then obviously I will use it and walk them through everything so that they can go into a transaction with their eyes wide open, knowing how much it's going to cost on an upfront cash wise, but also like on a month-to-month basis too, right?
Amber, what else?
Well, I think one of the most important things is if you call the phone number on the website, you're going to actually get me on the phone.
You actually answer the phone.
So I get a lot of unknown calls, but I will call you back, and I'm extremely responsive. So people get on the phone. We have a YouTube channel as well, and they're like, wait, is this really you? I'm like, it's really me.
What's the YouTube channel called?
It's going to be the Gifford Group.
The Gifford Group. Let's tell people the phone numbers, guys.
Yeah. You can reach us at 832-483-0829. Or you can check us out at thegiffordgroup.net. 832-483-0829.
Amber and Scotty Gifford, 2 roads, 1 journey, 5 kids, 2 dogs. Is that this?
That's right. Another book.
That's another book coming. Guys, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, as we move along, taking a different direction altogether, but it's important. We have author, owner of Hygienitech Solutions. His name is Ed Camp. Ed, welcome to the show.
Bill, I'm thrilled to be back. Thank you for having me.
The name Hygienitech Solutions, right now, chemists, their ears are alert and whatever, but let's tell people what your company does in the real estate world, Hygienitech Solutions.
That was a combination of 2 words, hygiene and technology. And I was using both in order to create healthy homes. What is a healthy home? What is an unhealthy home? According to the EPA, 6 out of every 10 homes are unhealthy. Unhealthy homes are anything that has a smell. So I started my company with the foundation of removing odors and was cruising right along. And then Harvey hit, and I was thrust into the mold category. But that's what we do. We create healthy homes, whether we're removing mold or odors.
Well, and that's one of the things, certainly here in Houston with the water and, as you mentioned, catastrophe like Harvey, other flooding situations. I mean, I've talked to people that, unfortunately, where they come home and they didn't turn the water off, which most people do. They're on vacation. They come home to a home that's got water running out the front door. Water problem, thus potential mold. That's where you come in.
Yeah, I posted something on Facebook a couple of years ago that water doesn't cause mold. And I started getting more feedback than any political post that I've put on. And that is, there's mold in your home. The International Space Station has mold. You can run, but you can't hide. So, water, just because you have a water intrusion, that doesn't equate to mold. It equates to providing an opportune environment for mold, but it doesn't automatically mean, tear the house apart.
Well, when is a situation where, and let's tell people you're a mold inspector, so your company can go in and inspect if there's mold before or after. So if someone's looking at a potential home and maybe there's something that triggers it, or maybe they just want to be sure, you can help them and identify the situation of a current home, whether they're thinking about buying it or if they're already there.
Correct. I would like to start by saying I did not want to be a mold inspector, and I put it off for several years. I had been treating homes with mold and encountered quite a few inspections that I felt intentionally failed homes. And then it was my word against a professionally licensed mold inspector. So I decided 4 years ago to level the playing field so that I was licensed and I could write clearance certificates. And I kind of cornered the market in reviewing other people's mold inspections and writing a summary. But it's just amazing how I can't say corrupt that industry is, but it's just a cornered market where a lot of inspectors, and I don't find fault in them doing this, but it's wrong. They'll do an inspection on a home, and then they'll attach a generic remediation protocol to it. And that's, a big CYA on their part.
Give people an idea. Let's just say someone thinks they may have mold, or what's involved in the actual inspection. And let's take every home's different, I know, size-wise. Let's just say it's a 2,000 square foot, one-story home, right? And they say, Ed, we want to make sure this is clear. Come on and take a look. What do you do to check it out?
The first thing I do is I have a conversation with the people who live in the home. It's kind of presumptive for someone to come in and tell you whether you're in a healthy home or not. I think I have mold. The question is, how do you feel in your home? Do you feel better out of your home than in your home? Are you having any, and we go through the symptoms that people usually endure. Are you having any type of migraines or sinus issues? So the first thing that we do is we have a conversation with the people who are in the house to find out if there's an issue. The calls that we get start off with, I found black mold. And it's, where did you find it? It's on an air vent. Here, what do I do? Well, you can either run or you can get a damp cloth and wipe it off. and just let's not go from zero to I have black mold. The media came up with the term black mold in the 90s, and it was a colloquial term for Stachybotrys, which is a toxic mold. But it's a water-based mold. It's usually it's always from a water source leak that's been fermenting for a while. You're not going to see it on an air vent. You're not going to see it on a wall that appears. Like I said, mold is a part of our environment, and the majority of mold that we test and we find in homes, it's outside common mold.
So after the conversation and maybe a declaration by the person where they think they have, but when you go into the home, how do you? Do you have certain instruments, and
Yes.
where do you start at the front door? Do you go into the center of the? How does that work?
We take air samples, and if we see something suspicious, we'll take a swab. But I generally start with the areas of homes where there's most likely to be mold. So I start in the kitchen, and then I go into the bathroom and in the laundry room. If there's going to be a water leak, it's going to be in those areas. But we have tools, moisture meters, where we can check inner walls and see if there's something going on behind the scenes. But it's a simple thing. We take, as a mold inspector, we're not supposed to say the word mold. A home inspector is not supposed to say mold. A realtor is not supposed to say mold. The lab says mold. So what we do is basically we test the home. We take air samples. We take the samples to our lab. The lab puts it under a microscope, and they produce a summary that shows the spore counts and the strain of mold. And then we analyze it. The first thing we want to do is make sure it doesn't have the 2 strains of toxic mold, and then we work our way down. There's a lot of moving parts. If the kitchen is, there's a back door close to the kitchen and people are going in and out, then you can have a high spore count. That's not a fail. If there's a bedroom and there's an attic door there and the attic door is not sealed well, you can have a high spore count. That's not a fail. In a bathroom, I can look at a spore count in a bathroom and know whether they used the jacuzzi tub or not. It'll have a higher spore count. That's not a fail. But in some cases, with some inspectors just not understanding the remediation part of that, and I've been remediating for 12 years, I understand what the fail and the concern is. But probably 95% of the inspections that I do, the house is fine.
So 2 things about that. So number one, if there is a problem, you have the tools to do it. If there is a mold problem, that's not all that your company does. I want to move on to another thing, but if there is a problem, you also have the capability to
have
fix
the solution.
it. So you can solution. That's the name, Hygienitech Solution. So you
right,
got that going for you.
Yes.
So in the meantime, other than that, let's say it's probably on your website, but the menu that you serve, you're not just helping people with mold. Before we started recording, I was telling you about a home that I looked at to buy 8 months ago, to where it was a smoker's home, and it was so bad. So if there's a home that's that had a smoker there, Can you help them?
Yeah, absolutely. I did a 4-generation smoker home, and it was the
3-generation
yeah,
smoker
it was
home is
4.
bad, but 4.
Yeah, the kid wasn't still in high school. He was smoking, and it was. But anyway, they had to sell, and again, everything's about sight and smell.
Right.
If you're looking at a home, you're not going to take a second step. So, yeah, we set up our chemical, and I'll be honest, it surprised me that we were able to do it. But the only home that I hesitate on giving a quote on is if there's a cat issue in the home. And believe it or not, my policy is if you have a bad cat odor, I'm not charging you a penny. And the reason for that is if I do charge you and I can't rid that odor, then there's a problem. And I could face a bad testimonial. But for most parts, I'll do a home for free. And then if I've been able to mitigate it down or help them, then I'll charge them. But I'm real careful with cats.
So, so again, on your menu, you could help. It sounds like the general rule of thumb is that if there's an odor of some type in the home that either develops, sometimes it might even develop maybe slowly where it just comes upon people, or if someone's looking at buying a home and they smell an odor, they say, hey, we better call Ed to find out what's going on. So it sounds like what your specialty is.
And there's also something else that is important, VOCs. New construction, you'll have someone moving
volatile
into
organic compounds.
They'll move into a home not knowing that there's formaldehyde in wood floors or there's 300 carcinogens in latex paint. I was in a home yesterday and I did a mold inspection. The calls I get, sometimes from concerned parents, their daughter was having rashes, and I did a mold sampling yesterday. I got the report this morning, and I asked about the bed. It's a latex bed. She's having issues with latex. Some people are allergic to latex. So when we get calls, especially from parents, they want us to not only just mark off that there's a mold problem, but also investigate to see what else is brewing in a house.
So many things. And Ed, as I started out, you're an author. Your latest book is called
From Mold to Sold.
Can I say it one more time? From Mold to Sold. That's pretty good.
And that was from many calls I've gotten from realtors asking me to do a mold treatment in a home that needed nothing. So of all the mold books that I've read, I didn't find one that was like a mold for dummies that appealed to me. So it's kind of a simple guide. I have mold myths in there. I have important facts about mold. I have a couple of interesting stories. And
it's all there in the book.
It's all, it was just complete.
If someone wants the book, Ed, where do they get it?
Amazon.
From Mold to Sold. Easy to remember.
Understanding and overcoming mold.
And there they could find you right there.
Yes. My cell phone is always on. I'm working 7 days a week, and I love what I do. So when that phone rings, I'm happy to answer it. It's 713-298-1449. 713-298-1449.
Geographic coverage. You're here in the Houston area, or do you go beyond?
I was in College Station last weekend. We cover a 2-hour radius of Houston.
Okay. Ed Kemp, Hygienitech Solutions. One more time, Ed. The phone number is
713-298-1449.
I'm going to say it again. From Mold to Sold. Sounds good, Ed. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
Real Estate Matters with Stuart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance. John.
Bill, always a pleasure.
But they always want to hear insurance, John. That is the common theme with each and every show, and that's what you bring to us.
Well, there was an interesting article in the Independent Insurance Association's membership magazine the other day, and it was basically just kind of capsulating some of the research that some of the major companies have done in the past year and are starting to release as we get into 2026. So there was some information from a study that Nationwide Insurance had done. Vertifor, who's an organization that produces software packages for independent insurance agents and insurance companies, and then J.D. Power, the folks that do the consumer acceptance studies. And what they found was, regardless of what we sometimes hear in the news and people react to, the real issue or real concern that folks have, especially when it comes to home insurance, but personal insurance in general is, do I have the right coverage?
That's right.
Do I have the right coverage? So that's, and the fact that their number one issue is, what do I need to do to understand the policy better? So while cost is an element in that understanding the policy and understanding the coverage, it's not the only element, because there is a major concern through the study that both Vertafore and Nationwide did that indicated that people are really concerned that they may not have what they need covered, and that and the premium, the cost of the insurance is an element within that, but it really is that idea of wanting to do that. And the other thing that was on top of that I thought was interesting was with all the conversations about how technology is moving forward and how artificial intelligence is going to be replacing us all, 88% of those that they interviewed wanted to have some sort of a combination of, yes, using technology, whether it be an app or being able to do things online or an online chat service, but also with an agent. And even the group, the Gen Zs and the millennials that are truly grew up with technology, 57% of those folks represented that they spoke to an insurance agent at least once in the past year. So it truly is this idea that, yes, I do want the convenience that technology can bring me, but ultimately I need to have that conversation with an insurance advisor to make sure that I am comfortable with the coverages I have and that I understand what those coverages are that I have. So I thought that was interesting. And then the other element that came out of that's kind of layered on top of it is that because of what we've seen from an increase in premiums, and something like 47% of the folks that received a premium increase directed by an insurance company, it wasn't caused by the individual, but caused by the insurance company raising the premiums, the cost of the insurance, folks are still wanting to look to switch, or at least to shop. They're still wanting to get a feel for what those options are out there. But again, then that folds back into this idea of, yeah, it's great to shop and to look and to see options, but just the fact that you can switch, and maybe it'll be easy to switch, doesn't necessarily mean that you should. And then that again goes back into that idea that we're still seeing clients want to have that conversation to understand the coverage. Because if I switch solely for price, and I got a significantly lower premium, which can be important, but now I've suddenly given up water damage coverage, or my deductible is so high that it basically makes the insurance useless. Or if my roof is over 10 years old, the new company's not going to cover it at all. So again, it folds back into that idea of truly wanting to be able to understand what I have and what I don't have. And so that idea of people still want to have a conversation, and they have a concern about what their coverages are, yet because of the cost they're looking to switch. It's important that they're working with an advisor that can provide them that counsel, that's willing, as Ed talked about, is willing to provide that counsel. Ed talked about the fact that he has a conversation with his clients before he does anything in the home. He doesn't make the assumption that I'm going to do A, B, C, and it's done, and here's my invoice. That he's going to have a conversation first. What the research is showing us is that individuals want to do the same thing. And as we've talked about on the show here, that's where our thoughts about properly insured come into play. That's what we do, is we'll invest the time, and we're willing to invest the time, and we want to invest the time with our clients or our prospective clients to make sure we understand what their needs are, whether it be from a business perspective or, in this case, personal insurance perspective, how we can help them. And then based upon that, being an independent, we have access to a variety of companies that we can then place our clients with that best meets their needs.
So many things go into the mix, into the blender to be properly insured, and there's no better way than to be properly insured, I think, than to talk to the representatives at Stewart Insurance. Well, because your people are trained to know what to ask, to know what to do with the information when they have that, and most of all, as we heard earlier, From Teresa, communication. And that's what it's all about. If any of those things fall short, I would say, John, the person may not be properly insured. You got to put it all together.
You do. And I mean, there's an education aspect of it. There's a communication aspect of it. And it's just an understanding how people want to work and understanding to truly find out what those needs and wants are, what those pain points are. And then at least we can provide you some options to consider. And then you can make the best decision possible based upon that. But again, I guess the difference is working with somebody that truly wants to be an advisor and find out what those needs are and build a plan that's best for your family versus working with an agent that's just looking to churn out a policy and go on to the next. Well, if you would like to be properly insured, and there is an interest in making sure that you understand the policies you have, even if it's a policy that you have with somebody else that you haven't placed with us, we'd be happy to take a look at it and share with you our point of view. You can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. You can learn more about us at stewartinsurance.com or email us at stewardinsurance@stewart.com.
John, the website's so great, too, on the stewardinsurance.com. A lot of great information's on there. Super. They answer questions and also provide a full menu of who you're helping.
It does. I mean, both from a business insurance and a personal insurance perspective, you get an idea of the types of policies that we can help people with and combining them to build that best plan that makes sense for your family and your business. But it also, if you're ready to get started, hey, I want to get started. I want to make sure that I'm properly insured. You can get started on the website right there.
And reminding some of our many listeners outside of Houston, you're helping people in Indiana, Florida, California, providing insurance.
We have clients all over the U.S., both business and personal, yes, sir.
And, John, the phone number again is?
866-798-2827.
John, thanks for being with us.
Always a pleasure, Bill.
Here we are, one of my favorite parts of the show. We are bringing back our guest. She is with us again, Teresa Hill. She's the HAR chair for 2026 and sales manager at Compass Real Estate. Teresa, welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, here we are, Teresa. Important part of the show where we want to remind people of how they can learn more and reach you and your two organizations. But also, what else should we know that we didn't maybe hit upon?
Well, one thing that I didn't hit on is kind of my messaging that I want to bring for our membership community for 2026. So I kind of have a tagline, and the tagline is always practice real estate with real respect. So as a manager, I tend to see agent strife, I will say. Ooh. And I very much feel that we need to be nicer to each other. We just need to treat each other with real respect. We need to remember that we are all after the same common goal. First of all, we want to get to the closing table. But second of all, we want to treat our clients with the best professionalism that we know how. And part of that is respecting all parties, including the agent on the other side of the table. And that doesn't mean that we need to sing Kumbaya at the end of the... Or it could
be the agent team, too. It might be several people on the other side. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we don't need to be best friends with everybody, but we do need to treat everybody with real respect.
That's a very, very good point. No doubt about it. Teresa, what else should we know as far as the contact information, HAR and Compass? Let's tell people how to reach both organizations.
Yes, so HAR, you can find all sorts of information at har.com. You can also call member services at 713-629-1900. I am open to anyone asking me questions about HAR. If members want to reach out to me, they can reach me at 832-766-2420.
The phone number again is?
832-766-2420.
And one other quick thing, as far as you mentioned, strife, as far as the part as in management, as you every now and then will probably see an agent that might be stumbling or maybe need to a refresher or something. What is the most common problem or the thing that an agent might stumble upon, whether they're brand new or even a seasoned agent? Where do they need the most help? Is there a common theme where it's like, hey, man, let's work on this?
Well, I think that if an agent does not practice real estate on a regular basis, we can forget about the contract changes and all the legal updates that we're getting on an ongoing basis.
Things are changing all the time, right?
They're changing all the time. So as a realtor, you need to keep up with all that. And if you don't practice real estate all the time, that can sometimes be a challenge. 832-766-2420.
And now Scotty and Amber are back, or the Gifford Group. Scotty and Amber are back. Scotty, well, here we are, closing the show down. What else do you want people to know?
We talked a lot about how we specialize in divorce, and one thing that I wanted to mention too is that back in about 5 years ago, I also got my lending license because as we walked through that situation, a lot of times people wanted to keep that house, and so we didn't want to push people just to sell just because it was beneficial for us. We wanted to be what was good for them and what they wanted to do. So we did, bring on some. I got my mortgage license to help with that situation. Like I say, we just always try to meet people where they're at, and so I think that's just one of those tools on our tool belt that we wanted to offer, right, as we help people walk through this.
Another one of the needs you're addressing. I'll tell you guys are real innovative and on looking for new opportunities all the time, it sounds like.
Yeah, and then we also we want to offer those free tools. So a lot of the stuff that's on our website, the giffordgroup.net, we have a divorce buyout calculator if you're considering what does that look like, and then with the real numbers in there. So we get into some of those nuances, like we have a property tax calculator, stuff like that. So we just offer a lot of tools on our website because we want to have not just a website just to promote us, but to be actually useful for the general public.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And Amber, what do you think?
Well, I think we're awesome.
Well,
most importantly, our main passion is helping people. So whether it's divorce, relocation, you're a first-time buyer who we love to deal with as well. We're here for helping them experience all their real estate needs, and we open doors to new beginnings. That's
so you're also experts at helping happily married people as well.
We are. You don't have to be getting a divorce to use us.
That sounds good. Amber, how can they reach you?
Giffordgroup.net is probably the best way. Our information is all there, as well as lending services and all our cool calculators, or you can reach us at 832-483-0829.
Thanks for being with us, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Giffordgroup.net. Hygienitech Solutions, Ed Camp. A final word, Ed, as we wind things down right here.
I'd just like to mention that I have a 1-hour CE class, Understanding Mold. I teach about 50 classes a year. I do not charge realtors. I love teaching the class, and I'm filling my schedule right now. Stuart Title has been very good with
I see you there on Facebook. People have you scheduled to be at some of our offices.
The response that I get is my class should be a mandatory TREC class because, again, we're talking to realtors about something that they run from. But also, on a personal note, we are the #1 mold inspectors in the greater Houston area. This has happened just within the last year. We charge a flat fee with a lot of companies. I've seen mold inspections that cost thousands of dollars. We charge a flat fee. We get the report in within 24 hours, and we provide an honest summary so our clients know that we're not going to try to pull anything on them. Mold is an easy problem to solve if you have an issue. It's not expensive, and getting the report quickly is the most important thing.
Sounds good. From mold to sold. That's right. Ed, how can they reach you?
713-298-1449. Thank you. 713-298-1449.
Yeah, thanks for being with us. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stuart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik. As always, you can go to the website, stewart.com/radio. That's right. You can see the show, hear the guests again, write down some information, all those things, stewart.com/radio, or simply go to Radio Bill. It's right there. Radio Bill. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends, and we'll see you next time.